Out to talk about. Yep, we're in London after a nice little scoot-up visit to Edinburgh, and I want to give you a weekend update on where we are. Take the temperature and remind people where in fact we are in this economic, financial Titanic. And you should have got a clue there in the message, by the way. And it's accelerating towards its demise. And precious metals are squealing. And I have a trade for you. That's right, a free trade for you. Right here on this YouTube channel. In fact, the entire drawing of the trade is on my X post, That Market Sniper. So if you're not already following That Market Sniper on X, please feel free and go and collect the trade with the risk reward profile, where I entered, how tight my stop is, and I think it's around a 27 Rs. Don't forget, we gave a gold trade just like this one at a HVF setup with the RL2 in and around $2,011, and said to you that shortly you would trade 3,000. 2,900 to 3,000 would be a point where you'd have some degree of rest. I'm here again. I'm telling you the same market again, and I'm telling you by target you should run the 3,700s. I think 3,723, possibly even 3,750, and given a bit of overperformance, you may go beyond. Here I am, lovely London, looking up at grey skies. Somebody left a park bench for me. They must have known I was coming. Speaking of which, knowing that I was going to be here, we are meeting our community members. That's right. Give us a like, by the way, for the weekend. It helps the algo, helpful the algo. I don't want the narcissism. It's not about that. I'm never one of these guys on YouTube that tell you 73% of you are unsubscribed. We would really appreciate it. Grovel. I don't care. If you want to subscribe, you'll subscribe. We want to get more subscribers. We'd love to crack 100 one day. We're at about 86. But if you don't, you don't. I'm not nagging. But it helps us on the algorithm if you do that, just so to bring our other guys around. So just fool the algorithm for me. Just play the game of fooling the algorithm. Give it a dislike. If you don't think it merits it, just do something that fools the algorithm. So here we are. There's a free trade for you, and I'm expecting a similar outcome to the algorithm. I'm watching your chats coming through across as well. I should probably read some of them. Because somebody would say your audio's crap or you're holding the phone the wrong way around. I might be doing all of them, but that move will be very profitable. And again, it's an HVF structure. The last HVF structure we warned will also deliver over performance, and that you are breaking out of a macro broadening structure where 2,000 had been the kind of key level of significance, and once you let it go, you will go for the next 1,000. And here you are, 3,300 gold days. That was November 24, by the way. And you're sitting here with me, grey skies in London, July of 25. That's not actually a long haul, is it, for that kind of move, 50%. And in actual fact, it had made 3.5 couple of months back. So it's even less than that. So I want to help you, whether you want to commercially endorse me by purchasing a product or not. I want to help you. There's people here that'll never engage and never pay a financial cent, and that's okay, because they're probably not meant to do that, and that's fine. Not everybody's my potential customer, but I want to help everybody who's on this channel. It's worth going over the ethos of what I stand for and what this is all about on this channel. It's very unfair in a cruel world full of duplicitous people with hidden agendas for younger people who are naive and believing and brought up on honesty and trust to continually get rugged by a financial elite with cunning games and clever stories, and not for there to be one person out there that's a little bit further on in his life that has seen the ways of the world, to speak truth to them so that they get a possibility, a chance to hear what's truly going on, a chance to position that they don't get hurt, and I want nothing for it. If you fool the algorithm, that's more than enough gratitude. As I say, the right people will know they want to book a call with me, and the rest won't. And it's not cheap, so, you know, it's fine. It's fine that you're just here and you pick up something on the free side. So there's an HVF structure on gold that in my reckoning is going to take you through the 3700s, and we never just stop at the target. Don't forget, I gave you targets of 29, 3000. The localized high is 3,500 before it went and pulled back a little bit. So that's at minimum if we have HVF method targets. HVF method is the only reason an emotional guy like me is even able to contemplate trading. Without the process of what was developed there, I would be a perpetual blown account, because FOMO runs deep, chase when it's running, all of these psychological things. It's got nothing to do with IQ, it's everything to do with temperament, it's everything to do with lots of other things. Without the absence and submitting to process, I would fail perpetually. And in actual fact, across all the affiliate links that you find under our YouTube, I own an account and I have nothing but green P&L on them. And that's not a brags thing. That's in spite of being a garbage by personality trader, thanks to process. The SimpleFX, the Scandinavian Capital Markets, the tick mill, all of them predominantly green. I'd love to be able to show all of this stuff, but you can't in this day and world, not safely. And you actually get more haters and angry people that actually create bad PR when you show success of any form. So it's a double-edged sword. You can take it or you can say bullshit. I don't really mind. I don't care. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. It's the difference of method. And it's also a fundamental understanding of where we are and how it goes. And here we are. And how's it going? Well, I'm in a deck chair in London. I live a great life. By the way, I'm fortunate enough. I was in Australia, Cyprus, Cape Town, Georgia, London, back to Cyprus. I'll be in Panama probably this year. I was in Scotland. That's part of this UK trip. I get to travel, and it's all paid for by a combination personally and my business activities, and I'm really fortunate and I'm really grateful, and I'm here to tell you, you can do it too. You can develop it too. But the story in terms of the fundamental narrative is getting intense. And in the headline I said to you, gold can go up on rising interest rates. You see, you get sold templates. Everything is a template. They give you formulaic templates. If you're a leftist, you're anti-war, you're pro-trans stuff, you open up the borders, let them all flood in. If you're a rightist, you're controlled immigration. They sell you all templates, and they control the templates. And it's the same in the financial realm. You see, you get told interest rates up, bad for stocks, bad for gold, silver, platinum, etc. Well, it's going to be bad for housing with everybody who uses interest or mortgages, and because a large part of them do, it'll be even bad for those that don't, because that asset's going to go down. That's mathematics, because people borrow to buy in property. But let me tell you, we're actually seeing the long end of debt creeping up across Japan, across the US, across the UK, and as we've noted and informed you, that Europe will also and is also doing much the same. And what does this mean? It means the continuation of what we told you in 2020, the back end of 2020. Round about this time, it was Q3 going Q4, we said, this is the most important call we ever going to make to you. And it's the first and only call we've ever made on the bond market that we've shared on YouTube. And it's huge of scale, and it's deeply meaningful. Interest rates have capitulated to an all-time low that is going to be the low of forever, and you're going to begin a cycle of going higher in rates. We said that September, October 2020. We've mentioned this many times. I don't want to over-egg it. But you need to understand what I'm going to say, why I say what it's coming next. So I have to sometimes remind you of these things. It's not being a braggart. Really, I don't care. People don't want to give it credit or not. It was said, it was acted on. We repeated it ad nauseum to tell you early why this matters. It's a reserve asset that can only go down in capital valuation. It's a reserve asset that can only largely go down now in capital valuation. And your entire system, and many of you do not understand the significance of bonds. I didn't. Let's be clear, hands up. So I'm not projecting on you any kind of stupidity. Bonds sounds boring. I understood Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Toyota, products I could see. It was later that I got to understand bonds, and as you go through the history of money and how money is formed, you start to realize the significance of it. Debt, every over expenditure your government does to the income it gets in tax is put in a bond portfolio. And do you know what they do with that? They sell it to pension funds that are holding your retirement payments. So let me just summarize this. A little simple summary. That stuff that you've been taken off your wages, called pension, that's there for your rainy old days, those payments are being taken in many instances, not universally, but in most instances, and many of you don't even know, has gone to fund and buy the asset, inverted bunny ears as much as I can, that is made out of your government overexpending on its income that is actually inflationary and is debasing your currency. So to summarize, your government over expenditure is making you poorer. It is natural inflation, and it is increased costs of living in an environment where your salary particularly is unlikely to rise fast enough in this current economic environment. So in nominal terms, things are going up. In real terms, your wealth is going down. In real terms, your wealth is going down because of this over expenditure. And the tax, or the tax take on your payslip, and the pension take on your payslip, that is disposable income you're not getting that you think is stacking in your name for your later years, is being used by pension fund managers to buy the simple worst product in the world that could go to zero. So they have coerced you into funding a Ponzi scheme that allows them to overspend, that also has a dual effect of devaluing your living standards. And that money, as the rain comes, as it always does in Britain, which means I put on my raincoat, which is a baseball cap, that scam is now going bad and is going to hurt and hit you hard. That scam is now going to hurt and hit you hard. It's a government scam. It's a Bank of England, if you're in the UK, scam. And I want to tell you a little story about Bank of England. I'm streaming, obviously, from London in England. And it's a known terrible investment. And the 40-year bull market that took some engineering, took Volcker to kill rates, has turned, and it is a decade of deval if it doesn't end up zero in a whole new reset. That's where we are right now. And you hold it, probably without even knowing, many of you. And it's often being sent to Ukraine as deemed a necessary, or charity to an African nation where they receive half of it and the rest comes back in bungs or assets or shares for politicians and intermediaries. So that over expenditure, particularly the overdraft they dip in, is where they steal most. Quangos, all forms of forming deals with corporations that sell to governments, intermediaries, overcharges, circle backs, family members of politicians that get X, Y, and Z gifts or equities or various other things. Here in Britain, George Osborne, a chancellor of not that long ago, went to the Super Bowl and signed off a deal for Schmoogle Google, your psychopathic, record your everything on your device, on your internet surfing, capture all your data, capture all your biometrics company, a virtual tax deal that saw them pay less than 1% corporate tax in the UK, a fraction of 1%. And of course, George Osborne would have got, apart from his Super Bowl tickets, a whole bunch of other comped flights and who knows what other services, recognizing that there is a blackmail cult in all of politics. The Epstein list disappeared, but he killed himself about that. Funny. Funny, funny indeed. In fact, he's probably alive somewhere laughing his ass off at all of you for good work enabled, for all the politicians, all the Talmudist doctrine work that he did, ensuring that every politician is captured, probably in some compromised kiddie situation. That's what you're funding. That's what your pension payments are funding. That's what your tax payments are funding. By the way, if you're in the UK, particularly London I'm referring to, tomorrow, in person, I will probably do a live stream from community members and YouTube followers. If you email support@themarketsniper.com, support@themarketsniper.com, and you are a friend of the channel and you give a name, you can bring yours. There's no charge, there's nothing. I want nothing from you. I want nothing from you. I want to introduce you to your awakened friends. Because I'm going to go. That's what I do. I don't stay too long. I'm going to go. I'm going to chaila. But you will meet like minds and friends that are in the United Kingdom and are getting gaslit by the BBC, the Bolshevik Broadcasting Society of Frankists, that are bringing communism on the slow. The leftist socialism to communism on the slow. You know, hate speech is the great crime, not knife crime. All of this. These guys are bringing it because they want to control your minds, they want to control your money, and they think they've got you caught in a corner and they're going to poke you till you're bleeding out white. They're going to tax you till you're bleeding out white, and they're going to bring out other people and they will endorse and look the other way on all forms of violence. I was listening to a conversation in the coffee shop about the asylum seekers from Afghan. They got an injunction to hide and stop all newspapers and all forms of information on the fact that they were taking all these Afghanis. They leaked the names of people that were doing work for the military, translating, being what we used to call a talk. I was in the military, used to walk. You needed someone who could speak a Vambo in Namibia when we were asking, where are the terrorists? I should have guessed by that. They're all in the governments, the different countries' governments. That's the real answer of where's the terrorists? But when we needed, have you seen any terrorists? We needed someone who could talk a Vambo. We were told and coached on how to sit down with a local leader in his kraal and never to talk to the woman because he's the head of the family, and show your respect and how you should shake hands and let your talk, which was the interpreter, ask the question if they'd seen anything untoward around. Somebody with an AK-47, for example. Anyway, they leaked the whole list. They put all those people in danger. Then they say, no, we've got to get them into the United Kingdom. Then they say, but no one can know. So not only did they get a super injunction that stopped any declaration of new immigration, numbers, people, where they were from, they got the courts to not even be allowed to state that a super injunction had even been granted. Now, if I get a super injunction to stop you saying, sharing, compromising pictures of me, the courts still record it, and it is a matter of record that person A got a super injunction against person B. To not even get it registered is special powers. This is what's going on. The legal system is compromised to hide the crimes. The facts are coming out 2-3 years after that dismal withdrawal from Afghan, where they should never have been, which on this channel I said, what the hell are they doing? Why are they going? We know why. It's to steal. It's corruption. And by the way, under the Taliban, the heroin trade dried up. Once they reopened it, We got a company. We got a company in America, a special pharmaceutical company that promised a cure for depression, was targeted at the Midwest American farm boys. Think of that particular culture there that they wanted to take down, and was sold as the least addictive and was the most addictive. And they had essentially the license to sell legalized opium virtually. It literally was. Having similar effects to probably the most strongly addicted and giving guys highs. And Purdue Pharmaceutical, go and find out who owns it. No one went to jail for the greatest lie of actually selling the most addictive substance under it being the least addictive, all stacked with, you guessed it, good old, the equivalents and derivatives that come from source the opium plant, basically, and getting tons of people addicted, creating an absolute plague, and all of that. And the opium trade was open again after the West went in. You need to understand there's these things, these people that run the world are the biggest people's traffickers, biggest human traffickers, biggest organ traffickers, biggest drug sellers. The reason I don't get into the drug trade is the CIA and Mossad would hate me for the competition and probably take me out. You know, if you want easy money, so many people are attracted to that. You don't get in there because the people that run the world and are the law of the world run the drugs. That's where we're at. So send us an email on support@themarketsniper. If you want to meet your fellow man, we will send you the venue once we know who you are. Bring a +1, bring a friend if you want, who's waking up. It's a pub locally. It's not too far away from here. It's beautiful central London, by the way. The rain stopped. I can probably get out from under my tree before a lightning bolt does me wrong. By the way, in this very park, there's a beautiful, beautiful memorial to none less than Lady Diana, assassinated, of course, as we all know. Assassinated for potentially a variety of reasons. Oh, I love that big dog. Where's he? Come on, boy. There you go. He's a good boy. Can you see him? No, he's hiding behind the tree. Here comes his owner. Anyway, so yeah, it's all here, guys. It's all here. This is, in some senses, London is one of the bellies of the beast, along with, you know, Geneva, Switzerland, I would imagine. You know, Washington, D.C., sure. Locked. Is that better? They locked me and said, rotate it. The bus driver is drunk. You should have gotten off a long time ago, says somebody. Thank you for all you do. The Market Sniper from Ohio. Yes, Americans. Checking in to London. Glad to have you. The rain has stopped. The mandatory cloud burst over the United Kingdom has stopped. Actually, it's been incredible weather. Almost, I feel a fool for saying it, but kind of almost too hot. And that's someone from Africa and Cyprus. But you never know quite how to dress. And of course, the city has its own little heat bubble that goes with it. But yeah, it's actually been great weather. And thank you to Ohio. Your government is your greatest enemy. Your government is actively working against you. In recent events that I don't even feel I need to name, they try to poison you. They lie to you perpetually. And they are launching attack vectors against certain race group types. And they are dividing and conquering with great effectiveness. They are weaponizing their media system. They are creating outrage moments on X and in the Daily Mail. You know, there was a guy, the recent outrage in the UK, a security guy at the border raised concerns about insufficient security checks on all these newly landed by dinghy in the United Kingdom guys. You know, the ones that never get stopped, never get sent back, that actually get ushered through, and there's a hotel with a long-term lease waiting to put them up somewhere. And there's all forms of camps. There's many theories. There's actually hotel owners that say there's crates of arms that are sitting in holding places for them to utilize at some spontaneously awkward moment. You know, there's a lot of upright standing indigenous British people, but you ain't gonna be able to resist people with live rounds, especially in a country that is unarmed. Anyway, this particular security guard raised this. He was fired. He was fired for the question. This is the Daily Mail outrage article of the day. And remember, they want to outrage you, so sometimes don't always give them exactly what they want. There's sometimes also a little bit more detail to the story, but nonetheless fired for actually raising in writing a query as to the security clearance and the quality of individual that appeared to be making it into his country, that wasn't being screened, filtered, or at least cleared for being a non-criminal. That tells me there probably are many a criminal therein with a tendency to resort to violence. And there's been other incidents. I think it was Epping here in the UK, where police supposedly bust in an Antifa counter rally against an organic indigenous rally that had formed around somebody who was one of those boatists that arrived recently who had molested a woman. So when you react and you don't take it lying down to protecting your clan, your family, your neighborhood, you will be characterized as a racist. And the Antifa, which is the left-wing Marxist communists funded blue-haired brigade that is kept on a waiting list, ready to be knocked and dropped at any hotspot near you, is there to call you a racist and to ensure that actually anything you do in reaction, stopping these people, points out that you are in fact the instigator and the violent group for not wanting to be crowded out of your own country. Heaven forbid you mention Norman Tebbit and anything he said. Heaven forbid you look at population stats. And heaven forbid you actually point to the psychological psyop of making your particular cult feel more guilty and that effect that it has on birth rates. If you are historically deemed one of those, a colonialist, you should feel ashamed and you shouldn't be allowed to breed while others should. Let me tell you, you're not a colonialist. The Dutch East India Company was a colonialist. It was a corporatized colonial that manifested and installed itself high up in the echelons of British society. It's not the average Brit that wanted to shoot Boers in Bloemfontein. They didn't wake up in Liverpool one day and say, I heard there's some gold and diamonds out there in South Africa. Maybe we should take it for ourselves. Someone, let's go, put us on a boat and we'll go shoot some Boers, lock up their family and starve them so that we can get that. No. That thinking came from people that didn't go fight, but certainly gave the instruction and funded it. That had the royalty of the day well under their thumb in terms of lending, tertiary extraction and banksterism. And that same force exists in America. Americans are going to face, post the Great Reset, which is going to be particularly harsh on the hegemon, everyone hating on average Americans. You did this, you attacked Iraq, you started the most wars. And the truth is they're innocent, just like their older cousins in rural Britannia land are innocent. A parasitic corporatocracy that happened to embed and plant itself within those borders pursued an agenda through corporations, leverage, lending over a royal front leader to secure the most barbaric actions that saw we must win at all costs. Lord Kitchener was the one who starved Boer women and children in concentration camps because the Boer fighter was too hard to be put down. This is the right to rule brigade that served the Dutch East India Corporation. I sat and I went through Scotland and looked at some of the great heads. Adam Smith, I tell you. A statue of Adam Smith. Who knows who Adam Smith is? Who's ever heard of the book surrounding the wealth of nations. Scotland were the original. That Scot, Adam Smith, was the original true economist that gave some semblance of sense to economics. He described free trade, price discovery, many of the principles of economics that we face today. And sadly, Scotland, to a degree, has become a very leftist nation. They've left their roots of their forefathers and great thinkers. But not all, not every Scot. But capitalism, the true capitalism, not a cacocracy, was a great freedom liberator. Mutual consent, contractual law, price discovery. Cacocracy were a captured, fraudulent clan of Talmudic, Kabbalah, Freemasonry, coerce and look after each other at the cost of the many, the few at the cost of the many, that are all tied to a code that involves some of the most aggressive blackmail to ensure that you are one and will never turn, because you can be destroyed in a minute. You're talking about a bound together, hateful, blackmailed cult where everybody has stuff on everybody else, all tied to a mega corporatocracy that selfishly are happy to do better. Nice little squirrel there. And make more money at the cost of the many. And treat the many as sheep, to be sheared, managed, controlled by number, controlled by lifespan, controlled by all aspects that control asserts. And you are in the end of a debt-based crisis. And the headline said, if rates go up, gold is going to go up. But, you were sold the template. So let's round that circle, because I never finished that tale. You were sold the template that interest rates go up, bad for gold. But the interest rates going up is not because of a strong economy. It's not because of the incredible workforce, the job offering, a red-hot labor market. It's not because of that. It's not because stock market is at all-time high. In nominal rates, it's absolutely not. No, it's because a debt asset class is failing, devaluing, and it's a sign of collapse, not strength. That's why the template doesn't apply. Because when you're in the 90% of the normal curve, the bell, everything is fine. It's a little bit up, it's a little bit down. At the 5% on the fringes, everything inverts. It's all inverted. It's a crisis. It's a debt-based crisis. You are watching the long end of the debt being surrendered. Now, Federal Reserves and central bankers are borrowing all on the shorter end because it's cheaper. But that means the debt comes back around to be rolled even faster. That's like you having a mortgage on your house and the mortgage rates go up. And you have a 30-year mortgage, and now you decide you're going to pay the mortgage off and put it on 10 credit cards. And you're going to roll those credit cards. Because the credit card rate currently, in a steepening curve, is lower than the mortgage rates, which are now climbing and out of control. Imagine that. But you keep borrowing, and you keep buying houses you can't afford, and you keep classing big, beautiful bills. And like Labour here in the UK. You keep missing revenue targets because you're chasing millionaires away. Everybody knows that happens. It's a fact of common sense. It's well known. It's not new in economics. And the Whitehall permanent government of the United Kingdom is preparing and planning for a collapse. Newsflash today, and I'll be talking about this tomorrow. You will get the venue, but at 10 o'clock tomorrow, the guys are not on the emails anymore. And we're quite close to our maximum. We've already got quite a high number of named group of people. These are your friends that care enough to meet others and hear me speak, and I will answer all your questions on the Great Reset, on what I think could happen, What definitely is happening now, because that's not an opinion piece, that's facts, and why gold goes up on climbing interest rates, because it is a final contagion collapse of the debt markets, for which gold is one of the other alternatives, and in my view probably the only alternative, given that property that has been so highly leveraged will no longer have debt origination on it once the debt market collapses, or if it does, it will be extortionately expensive and you'd need to put 50% down. Then you will indeed face true price discovery. Because you see, the thing about capitalism and the thing about freedom is that you don't get to defy gravity forever. You can lie and you can cheat and you can steal, but eventually everyone in the room learns and gets to see that you're a liar, a thief, and that you've been stealing. You see, truth does out. I don't think I'm on the winning team. I've never felt I'm on the winning team. I've never felt it. I hope that something happens out of the blue. But I can tell you, anybody you vote for is not in the winning team. It's part of the Kabbalah crowd, part of the Freemasonry, part of the Friends of Israel, part of all the little virtue signaled, and has got all sorts of dodgy pictures on them. That's my take, almost as a standard. I don't think I'm on the winning team, but I think I'm on the most honest team. I think I'm on the most truthful team. And in many ways, truth eventually outs. We've called lies on many things. We called Brexit well before it happened. It happened. We called currency crashes. We've called oil crashes. We've called many things. And we get many things wrong in the future. But on the macro of economics, this is my raincoat. It has to go on when it's raining. Sorry, guys. When it comes to economics, I can tell you on the big time frames, we're not wrong. I wake up every day, different mindset, different thing. What if this? I always seek to disprove the ruling hypothesis that I have. And I'm here to tell you, doesn't matter which way round I turn this Rubik's Cube and which face I look at it, from the corner, on a side, across the top, along the bottom, we're getting hard again. No matter what I do, I can tell you, there's only one outcome: debt-based collapse. And you know what happens? The interest rates climbing is a sign of that very debt-based collapse on the long end of debt. Because everybody knows contagion. In the markets, the people that have to deal in bonds know bonds are going to go down in value, therefore they're selling. Let me say to you, the liquidity that you think is in the bond market at the bid and the ask is not there. That's why the California Teacher Association couldn't sell. They said, no, don't dump that debt. This is America I'm talking about. The second largest pension fund that couldn't meet a pension payment. And what did they do? We'll lend to you against your pristine collateral. If it's so freaking pristine, why can't I sell it at the price you say it is? What if I chase the stack down? Oh, no. Don't chase the stack down. Don't, whatever you do, don't chase the stack down. There's not that much bid there, and the rates will spike. Remember Trump's tariff tantrum? What did you get? You got a little bit, a fraction of a little bit of American money leaving America, selling bonds, selling dollars, and getting out. What happened? Rate spike, dollar crash, gold spike. Did you hear what I just said to you? The clues are in the microcosms. We told you this was coming for America when it happened to Britain. Right here where I'm standing, the Trust Kwarteng event. We told you America is going to see a microcosm event similar, and that is a small peek through, just a small peek of what's really going on and how it will be in the future. You see, truth is like that. It starts giving you an idea of the real facts, waiting for everyone to see behind the curtain in the future. Because you can't stop a liar system from leaking. It's made up of thieves, frauds, and liars. Of course it leaks. And the system shows the stress. And not that many people want to do a not-for-profit trade, buying that UK gilts. Please, give me 100 billion of them. No, I'll take mine in gold, silver, and platinum, thank you. And I'll trade a little bit of crypto alts in crypto alt season to build wealth, because money, sadly, I wish it weren't that way. I wish honest people, earnest people that didn't understand the financial system got a fairer crack. But the fact is, if you don't focus on this, you get raped. If you don't want to think about it because it's all too negative, you get raped. The less you care, the harder you get kicked. Ostriches, to get rid of things they don't like and enemies, put their head in the ground. They end up getting their backsides munched by a bear. That's how it goes. The threat doesn't go away because you refuse to see it. In fact, it keeps coming for you. And it takes the easy killings first. The ostrich that stomached the fact that there was danger and that it wasn't such a positive vibe, but hey, I'll deal with it, that's life, and ran on a little bit, didn't get his backside munched by the lion. Which one are you? Maybe you're not even an ostrich. I don't know. For all non-ostriches, tomorrow, show up, man up, accept the facts, accept the frailty of the system, accept the lies, accept the fraud, accept the theft, know that it's a fact. Ask me what you want to ask me. I'll be there. You can buy drinks. It's a great pub. You can eat on your own book. I'm not paying for anybody. I'm just giving time to help so that there's no one who can say in the UK, I never had an opportunity and nobody ever explained it to me. I'm John the Baptist. I'm Noah. I'm all of them. I'm here to tell you, show up in here or ostrich out. It's up to you. It really is. It really is up to you. But what's going down is going down. I've been seeing this, watching this for 30 years. I've been developing a trading system to build wealth out of that for 30 years. And I'm all green PL'd on all-time highs on every account that you see linked down below. All for acting on exactly what I said would happen. And why? And using a technical method to get fast-moving breakouts with a thin risk. Because the best you can do, I can't stop this Titanic, guys. In fact, it was the Olympic, so we'll call it the Olympic. I can't stop this broken ship that essentially was sunk, that looked very much like the Titanic but wasn't. It's the Olympic. Guess what? Cameron, the director, knows that and doesn't say jack shit about it. Why? He'd probably end up with concrete shoes standing alongside the Titanic with a couple of sea bass nibbling on his below the belt line. That's what would happen. But anyway, that little interesting point of note, that's what's happening, guys. For the non-ostriches, we'll be here. You email support@themarketsniper.com. I'm not shouting out the venue. We want to just know and have a name for everybody who comes. There's no email address. I'm not going to email you. I'm not going to do anything. But there's some people who don't like us. There's some people that might instigate. We know that. There's troublemakers out there. There's some people that say anything that I said here is an ism. You know the ism, Marxism invented a whole list of isms. Just discussing this, being overrun in your own country, just discussing a cartel of blackmailists, Fabian Society, Freemasonry Lodge, criminals, Kabbalists, Talmudists, just by even doing this, I might not get out the country. This place has bad record for social media posting where they deem you've caused offense. Bad record. You know, they've arrested 10 times more than Russia, a communist nation. So let's be clear. A fast pivoting deep socialist country, which is actually, and the socialism is not even an ism, it's an in-between step between free markets and Marxism. That's all it is. It's when you jump onto that stepping stone, it starts sinking immediately. And you have to jump onto the next one in front of you, which is called Marx. And then you end up in that one. But that's where we are. Has arrested 10 times more people than a communist nation under Putin has for social media posts. You see, they've already got their ism in there. They've already got it. In fact, he's allowed to encourage his citizens to have more kids. And he wants Russian babies, Russian families. He wants family values. It's almost inversion perversion. The bad guy is now talking good principles. And the good guys are now the preemptive strikers of every war. In other words, the initiators. Do you know Romania is now getting $1 billion for their immigrant surge they're about to receive after the Romanian government voted badly. You voted badly in Romania, by the way. You got the wrong guy in. So the EU told you, removed him. I think they might have even arrested him and said, try again. You didn't vote like we wanted you. They did this to the Irish, by the way, 3 times. They caught him in the bottom of a banking crisis. Then they had to do exactly as they were told. Or no bailouts. We bust your system. We boom you into a mega boom. Then we bust your system. And then you do exactly like we tell you. You see, the Irish voted badly. Twice. They say, you're really not getting this, are you? Okay. How about we bankrupt you? And the only person in the room that can unbankrupt you or just get you to functional again is me. You see, how about I burn your house down and I'm the only builder that can rebuild it? That way, you vote right. Because eventually I'm going to burn your house down if you don't. Now, if that sounds like freedom, then you don't belong here. Romanian politics, where who they voted for got thrown out, you don't belong there. You don't belong if you think that's EU freedom. You're looking at a Marxist cult that has seized Europe, a greater layer of politicians at the EU. The people you vote for have no power. They're completely subservient to von der Leyen and the WEF agenda. Lagarde apparently almost got made to take Klaus Schwab, yeah, job. So these are the criminals you're dealing with. Frauds. Known frauds. So, if you think that a bit of honesty, a bit of truth, and a bit of principle should be in the way the world works, we'll see you tomorrow. If not, carry on, muddle on, cuddle up to your captors. But be warned, no matter how Stockholm syndromed you're up, if it's time for you to go and you're in the one category, the wrong category, like elderly white people in care homes during CV19, well, let's see. Well, that didn't do him off. Let's give him a little bit of remdesivir. How about we put an oxygen machine on them? Oh, that's much better. A few of them are croaking now. If you fall into the wrong category, it doesn't matter how much you cuddle up and how much woke signaling you do. And men, you need to talk to your ladies. And ladies, you need to reduce the empathy for Bolshevik ideals. Women are outliers by a standard deviation to men on empathy, which is great when you're a mother and you're a carer of kids. It's terrible for a political system. Women need to harden their hearts when it comes to politics. Men need to stiffen their spines when it comes to asserting what they think is right. Because they worked on. The Marxism doctrine is the woman is the easy bait that we can flip with emotion. One standard deviation on emotion and empathy, higher. The poor refugee, war-torn refugee, they'll flip him and they'll be trusting. And then the men will be forced to follow, because otherwise they'll have no society. It'll just be incels, a tribe of incels, angry incels, all on their own. And there's so many soft-spined men that have flipped. But there's so many amazing women that know the difference between empathy man to man and real justice and principle when it comes to systems and government. And we need a bit more of that. Anyway, that's my rant. Gold up. Go check the trade. I shared it on X. 27 RRR. You won't get the exact entry. I'll tell you why I think this trade works. We've got a big time frame H12 upside HVF. We've had our big 2 impulses. We've had 2 bounces of a 3, and we are in a broadening structure that was heading down, and we've popped out the side we should be breaking, the capping descending grind line, starting a journey on the upside. We haven't even triggered fully yet, but we're squeezing that risk, so it's an early trade. Own it. Take your losses if it loses. Take your gains if it wins. I'm giving you an idea. I am non-financially regulated. This is not advice. I am talking about what I do. And you can watch dispassionately and see whether it works or it doesn't. And if any of you do decide that you might give it a try, make sure you know what you're doing, you understand what you're doing, and recognize I'm not a regulated entity. I'm here talking freedom, truth, and principle in a Western world that's forgotten all three and is fast going down the whirly-gurgler into an inversion, perversion, Marxist, technologically biometric-cratic control grid that's going to be uploaded on this next collapse. And you need to build yourself some wealth to buy your way out of the harshest part of this. And that's what I intend to do for my community members, and also to a lesser degree, but still every now and then with updates like that, to all my YouTube followers. So I say thank you for following, and that's my gift. And if you are in London and you want to join us, great. If you don't feel you care enough, that's fine. There'll probably be some minor stream we'll try do. You can check in there. But I would say meet your friends, make some pals. There's a lot of you out there. It's time to get organized. It's time to fight back. But you've got to be clever. You can't throw yourself under trucks, because this Marxism is big. It runs deep. It's captured government, police. It's captured media. It's captured everything. It could even be that you concede. And many people don't like that. We're all supposed to die fighting. No one's going to write you a hero book story. No one's going to call you a hero. They're going to call you a racist, a Nazi, or a white nationalist for wanting to stay safe in your own country and have some level of controlled immigration. Anyway, all this and more when we meet. Support at the Market Sniper if you want to come down and meet some of your friends. You'll get the venue. Tell us how many you're bringing, names. No emails required, nothing. Till I check in with you later, remember, gold to the upside, rates up, and it doesn't matter. Because the rates up is not because of a hot, awesome economy. It's because of a debt-based collapse. You must hear the word and phrase every time to know truth. I'm giving you a concrete block with a chain that's anchored to the deepest part in the ocean. It's always going to be there. It's as sure as, the pyramids of Giza are. They've been there and it's going to remain there. And it's long term. Debt-based collapse. Start every sentence with understanding that, and you will not be bewitched by the likes of those that tell you what pristine collateral treasuries are and why banks are suddenly buying a whole bunch. Banks are being made to buy a whole bunch as part of a captured cartel, Mr. George Gammon and Jeff Snyder. They are being made to because their reserve requirements were removed, subject to them doing a minimum support of the Ponzi scheme. Because they've got to keep the Ponzi up until they're ready to put the foot on the detonator, and they're probably hanging in till sometime in Q3, beginning Q4. And they need that support, and they're all part of it, and they'll be compensated and made whole in some way. They'll create some toxic AIG vehicle, just like last time when they were made whole for all their corrupt, awful investments and dodgy debt instruments. They'll create one toxic vehicle that'll insure everybody, and then the government will support that vehicle and make them whole. The government. And whose money is it that makes them whole? You guessed it, friend. It's yours. Just like those pension payments, buying the other end, the toxic half of the bond trade, supporting and buying government debt, it's yours. It's your money. Just like that over expenditure to income that isn't out of tax revenue, but actually is a tax. The inflation is yours. And with that debt debasement comes fiat buying power debasement. The two are mutually combined. You cannot separate a debt-based collapse from a fiat-based collapse. And the biggest faller on the debt will be the hegemon, and the biggest faller in the currency will in fact be the dollar. But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy for all the other Western nations. And they'll take turns, and Britain might want to be first through the gate. Anyway, all that and more we'll discuss when we get together. Get the venue, support at themarketsniper.com. Come and have a Sunday bite and drink with your friends and community. Ask your questions. I'll give you my best. And I'm here as John the Baptist, Noah, every other pre-crisis crier, the town crier of truth. I'll tell you what I really think. Every time, always. You will always hear from me what I really think. Till next time, I catch you later. Bye.